Have you seen the teaser trailer yet for Pacific Rim, Guillermo del Toro's new movie? You get the idea. It's basically giant robots fighting giant monsters, or in the parlance of us nerds, mecha versus kaiju, right? The mecha are the robots, the kaiju are the monsters. You know, am I going to go see that? Well, yeah, I'm going to go see that. So are you. I mean, we're going to be there. I grew up on a diet of this stuff, right? Macross and Giant Robo. I mean, my Twitter handle is actually a mishearing, misremembering, a corruption of the name of a giant robot from a Godzilla movie. I mean, I'm down. I'm into this stuff, right? But I say all that as preface to say that if you really think about it, giant humanoid robots are a terrible, terrible idea. This is an awful weapon. Let me explain what I mean. So I have nothing against bipedalism, right? I mean, I'm into it, but we're really unstable. I mean, yeah, okay, it's good to have our heads high up, right? We get to have 3D vision and look around, and we get to use our nifty opposable thumbs, but you kick out a leg and we're down, right? And that's exactly what a giant monster is going to do, right? You go for the vulnerable parts. Vulnerable parts. Oi. You know, this is what you see now is a blueprint, nominally, from the movie. They call the giant robots, the mecha, Jaegers in it. And this is part of the marketing that's just come out. And you can see, now this looks to me, you tell me if I'm wrong, this looks to me like the cockpit of these things is in the head. Our brains are fairly well protected inside cranium, right? Big, thick skull. But this is a target, man. I mean, you put the cockpit on top of a giant robot and it's just asking to get hit by a big lizard tail or atomic breath or something, right? I mean, at least in the Gundam movies, and I think in the Neon Genesis stuff, they had the good sense to put the cockpits in the chest where they're a little more protected, right? I mean, it's not like you need room for lungs or something. And I mean, seriously, like putting the cockpit where the controls are in the head of a giant robot is as stupid as like putting the bridge of a starship on the top of a giant saucer where everybody... Actually, scratch that. Let's go on to something else. I don't get it. I don't understand why you would want a giant robot like to carry a gun like they do in Pat Labor. Like, why would you have a separate gun? It's not like they have a lot of fingers. Look, I get building big. You're fighting a Godzilla-sized monster that can take out a whole bridge. You need something giant. I'm even into... maybe not biomorphism, but evoking other kinds of models. Like, I like the Yamato, built in the giant ship, right? But with the wave motion gun on the front. How about we send giant flying spaceships that used to go in the water against the giant robots? I'm into that. Actually, what I'm really into is building something a little more stable and something that could still pick its way over unsteady ground, right? Like legs could, but actually has wheels too. So what I like are the Tachikomas from Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, right? They look like spiders. They have a lot of legs. They're very stable. They're low to the ground. They're heavily armed. Granted, they have the small problem of achieving self-awareness and then rebelling against their creators. But I think that's a small price to pay for a weapon that actually could stand up to a kaiju.